everyone, Amanda here, and welcome to our super quick brewery bio show on Great Beer Adventure. Ooh, that is a mouthful. I won't be trying to say that 10 times fast ever. Today we head out to Liberty Craft Brewing in Liberty, Maine. The brewery is off a country road in what seems like the middle of nowhere. At one point on our way out there, my husband actually asked if I was sure we were going the right way. Eventually, we pulled into the driveway of a beautiful rustic home. There were picnic tables outside and the ever-present cornhole, that beanbag game that seems to be at every tasting room. There were a couple of people sitting at the tables when I introduced myself. Upon my asking to chat about the brewery, one of the employees ran over to the house and asked the owner if he had time to talk. He joined me at the picnic tables and was ready and raring to go. So I sat down with...
It's Guy Hughes, and it's Liberty Craft Brewing.
Yes, Guy of Liberty Craft Brewing. The first thing we chatted about was his first beer memory.
People in my family didn't drink a whole lot, really, when I was growing up. But, so, I wasn't exposed much to beer and whatnot. But, I remember my mom hosted my uncle's wedding with my aunt and my uncle. And they had it out in the backyard. And I remember, I think I was about 8 or 9 years old or something. So I remember my brothers and I, like, sneaking a beer. And that was my first taste of beer, my first beer memory. And I thought it was pretty disgusting back then, actually. I figured out that beer was an acquired taste.
Next up, I wanted to know a little bit more about Liberty Craft Brewing itself. The view was gorgeous, but I had yet to step into what appeared to be the garage which housed the brewery, so I knew I needed the backstory.
This brewery, that's a pretty good story. I started out like most brewers as a home brewer, and I never had a separate building to brew in, so I always brewed beer in our kitchen. And anybody that brews beer knows that you start out and you think that you only need this pot or that pot, but by the time you're done, you got stuff everywhere throughout the kitchen, and it's a complete disaster and a complete mess. So my wife only put up with that for so long. So I said, when I build my garage, I am going to build a man cave upstairs where I can brew my own beer. And so that's what I did. I slowly built it, and over the course of about 3 years, I cut trees down from my property, and like all the flooring and the bar and the chairs and all that's made from wood from my own property. So I kind of built it in a craftsman style because it was to be for myself. And it was then that my friends started coming, and I made the mistake of putting beers on draft. So my friends were always over, and they kind of convinced me that I should open it as a brewery. So I applied for the licensing and did some modifications, to turn the man cave into a brewery, and they just went from there.
When I meet someone new, I'm the type of person who likes to ask a lot of questions. This podcasting thing really allows for a great excuse to talk to people. Wanting to learn even more about Guy, I asked him which beer that he brewed was his favorite.
That would be the Nightcap Imperial Coffee Porter. Yeah, it's delicious. We don't have it on draft now because it's actually a lager beer, and it's a long aging beer. And so I try to make it in the winter so that I can kind of naturally lager it. Which lagering, means you have to ferment at a much lower temperature. So I'm not set up with like a glycol system or anything and even if I was, I wouldn't want to expend all the wasted energy to cool beer for the months that it takes to lager. But I think a lot of people agree that the Nightcap Porter is probably our best beer. Although the Chupacabra IPA is our most popular beer and our highest selling beer. I just think that a lot of people gravitate to that because it's an IPA, and IPAs are so big now.
Finally, I wanted to offer all of you a little way to connect with Guy and Liberty Craft Brewing. While you can purchase his beers off premises, you must be
within a stone's throw
of the brewery because they self-distribute. So I asked Guy what you could go out and try this weekend in order to prepare yourself for a trip up to Liberty, Maine.
Sour beers are really popular right now, and I know there's a lot of breweries that haven't done sour beers that are trying them, and people at first are kind of like, sour beer, but I think we have the Liquid Heat, which is a sour hot beer. It's sour, plus it has a little bit of habanero, and just to try something that's different than what you normally think you would like, because you'd be surprised that you may really, really like it.
Wait, did Guy just say they had a sour hot beer?
It's called Liquid Heat. I got that name because I made it originally as an ice fishing beer, because for one, it was like really high in alcohol, so it was like the alcohol helped keep you warm, and so that was the portion of the heat, and the second portion of the heat was the habanero that's in it, so Liquid Heat.
Folks, I actually did get a chance to try that beer, and the habanero descriptor got me scared to try it. So I made my husband try it first, and when he told me it was well within my heat threshold, I jumped in. The habaneros are actually quite understated. The flavors come together in a very interesting way. You should totally give it a try. Head over to our show notes at greatbeeradventure.com/015 to learn more about Liberty Craft Brewing. There are pictures. Also, we are looking for help. If you are listening to this and you have free time, especially on Tuesdays, that you want to hand over to your favorite beer podcast made in Portland, Maine, email me at amanda@greatbeeradventure.com. I have big plans, but not nearly enough time in a day to get them all completed. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back next week with our long-form show. The music in today's episode is brought to you by Old Etc. To learn more about them, head on over to greatbeeradventure.com/music. We have new things coming your way every Friday, and we can't wait to share them with you. Today's episode was edited, produced, and a lot by me, Amanda. Thanks for joining us. Go subscribe, and we will see you next time. Cheers! Want to know more? Be sure to find us on Twitter and Instagram at Great Beer Women. Make sure you head on over to greatbeeradventure.com/subscribe to subscribe. That way, you'll be the first to know when a new episode goes live. We would love it if you left a rating and review on your favorite podcatcher. Let's spread the word and get more people knowing about beer in the great state of Maine. Great Beer Adventure is part of Portland Roots Media.